There's no school for tournaments. Like, you can't go online and, how do I run a tournament? Like, sure, you can, but there's not much information for Smash, really.
And that's why we're here.
Exactly. So you just kind of have to learn, or I guess, yeah, you watch this series, figure it out that way.
Plug it in. Watch this series to learn how to run tournaments.
That will do it.
What's up, everybody? Steven from Organized Gaming here, and welcome to How To, a series where industry professionals teach us how to esports. And today, we're gonna meet up with Ryan DCB so he can show us how to be Super Smash Bros. Tournament organizers. Let's do this. Where are we going, Llama?
We are headed to the Amuka Cup 3K Smash Tournament.
Yeah.
Dude, this is crazy.
Huge event, massive tournament.
Yeah. You mind showing me around where the bracket's happening?
Sure thing. Got a lot going on right now, so let's go to it.
Yeah.
Let me tell you a story. There was once a boy named Jimmy. A big boy that was always busy. Jimmy invited his friends over for more than just a cup of tea. He was hosting his local Smash nightlies. Without much history, things didn't go so simply. One of his friend rivals, Timmy, was a bit silly and always picked the worst character, Jiggly. But Jimmy, Ricky, Willie, and Brittany felt too guilty to tell Timmy that his pick was stinky. And now that we can see this imagery with clarity, Jimmy's happiness was found with rarity. So Jimmy had to invent a whole new industry, shifting from nightlies to weeklies, inviting more than just his friends. Why not the whole city? I don't know a Jimmy, but I know Ryan.
If you don't know who Ryan is, he's a community-driven tournament organizer based out of Ontario, Canada. He started by hosting tournaments inside his college residence. Now, he's managing a team and hosting globally ranked Super Smash Bros. Tournaments with almost 200 players. Damn, I want to host a tournament with 200 players. Where am I going to find these people? Is it going to cost a lot of money? And where am I going to stuff 200 people?
When it comes to like formatting, if I have no idea how to get started, are there any kind of like places there where you think that I can maybe learn a bit about more?
Honestly, just go to a tournament. You go to a tournament, you find the TO, and they can show you. You can go to a tournament, you can volunteer. We have a lot of volunteers here today that someday could be big, just like Smashurai and Amuka.
Step 1, go to tournaments and volunteer. You need to get as close to the action as possible. Volunteering at an event will get you a real look at how tournaments are run and what their formats are.
Let's get down to the nitty-gritty of it. If I'm, Mr. Competitor, I love to compete, I love my game, maybe I'm not that good at it, or maybe I'm one of the best.
There you go.
But I don't see that there are enough tournaments in my area. What are kind of the first steps that I can take to get started in doing what you do?
Well, the hardest part is always finding the venue. You have to find a reasonable, cheap venue. It needs to be cheap because I think when you want to start hosting tournaments, you have to gain your community's trust. Okay. So you need to start with a weekly. That's the best way to do it. You start with a weekly so then your community knows, hey, this guy can run tournaments. If you run a bad weekly, no one's going to want to come to your monthly.
Step 2, find a venue. This is important because you're going to need to find somewhere to host your tournament every week. And this will be your weekly. Your first tournament's going to be coming out of pocket though, so make sure it's affordable. You're also going to need to make sure that your weeklies are good, because you can't hit a Grand Slam if you can't even hit a home run. And your Grand Slams are gonna be your monthly tournaments. Monthlies are jam-packed with more people, bigger prizes, and more importantly, a bigger venue. We're gonna need to figure out how we're gonna pay for all this.
Generally for weekly fees, you want like $5 for venue. Okay. So that helps pay, pay the expenses for that, and then $5 for singing. So it's a nice $10 price. That way anyone can enter, it's not that big of a risk. If you get good reputation, which is what happened to me, my weeklies weren't very big, but they started growing and growing. Okay. And then the monthlies, we started with 30 entrants in our first monthly here. I lost about $200 off that, if not more. And then the second monthly, we immediately had so much more people. Everyone was like, yo, the event's actually kind of
sick.
sick.
Made that $200 back.
Yeah, not quite. We're still negative after the second one, but sometimes if you're dedicated to something, you just have to go through with it. I have been making decent profits ever since the 4th monthly.
Okay.
The 4th or the 5th, I think. The one that had like 80 entries. Because if you have a venue fee of like, for a monthly, you're allowed to charge $15. If it's a good monthly, you have good space, you have lots of setups, and you can trust people, and you have discounts. You can charge $15 venue fee, you get 80 people, that's a lot of money.
Yeah.
You do the math yourself.
Step 3, become sustainable. While it's okay to be in the red for the first few months, if you want to keep going, you're going to need to move into the black, and getting into the black is tough. So Ryan has some great tips for cutting costs along the way.
So incentives are another huge thing that really boost your monthlies. If people are carpooling from miles out, give them incentive to come. Be like, hey, carpool driver, I'll give you a cheaper venue. And then they'll make the trip. They'll make the trip. And if you bring a Switch, I'll give you like $5 off your venue. Suddenly, a lot of people are
Help me with equipment, help me bring people in, and I'll help you out.
If you, like having all those people volunteer their time and stuff, it really adds up. And you have to give them that luxury.
Step 4, build your reputation. The way that you interact with the people who come to your event is the most important step of them all. Finding ways to incentivize your community to help you as an organizer can actually give them more reasons to return. Always make sure to put your community first, because without them, you have no event. So it's safe to say that even in your free time, this is something that you can kind of do and work towards if you try really hard.
Definitely, but you have to balance it. School always comes first, except for this term. But school should always come first. It can be really difficult to manage your life with tournaments being a thing, but you can do it. You just have to dedicate that time. You can't be lazy. You can't sleep on any moment.
Now that we've gone over all of the steps to become a tournament organizer, Ryan has some pro tips to help us become an even better TO. Pro tip number 1, time management. Ryan goes to college and still manages to find time to run events. He emphasizes that organization is key. At the end of the day, if you're the one running the event, you're responsible to make sure that everything goes according to plan. And that means having a plan in the first place.
Organization is key.
If you slack off, it could be a total nightmare. And a nightmare that I've had myself is wasting a bunch of time to run a great event just to have nobody show up at all. Pro tip number 2, promoting your event.
What are some platforms you might recommend, like Twitter, Discord?
Twitter, Discord, and Facebook are the top 3 I use.
Ryan recommends using these social platforms as they're the most effective. When promoting your event, it's important to know the demographic you're targeting. We all know the gamers love Twitter and Discord, so these are going to be our go-tos when trying to reach our audience. If this all sounds crazy and daunting, I know. And if you're already on this path and you're thinking of quitting, Ryan has something to say.
If you had like one closing remark or one big tip to give anybody out there that wanted to do what you do, what's something that you might tell them?
Don't give up. Even if it looks like your profits are not happening, just keep striving, because every tournament that you run well will gain reception and people will talk about it. And once people are talking, that's when you really, gain leverage, and it just goes up. It always goes up.
The final tip. Don't give up. Do not give up. No matter what happens, if you're passionate and you have the drive, just keep on grinding. Eventually, you're gonna get the results that you deserve. If you wanna catch all of Organized Gaming, check out our website, organizedgaming.co. You can see more how-tos, the Best of 3 podcast, and we've even got some kick-ass merch. Smash subscribe if you haven't already. And if you learned something, click that like button. It helps us push out more content for you to enjoy. I'm Stevan Petrusic. This is How To. And I've got a book to read, so get on out of here. Come on, get.